Everyone knows Costco's meat department is legendary. Walk in and you're hit with mountains of gorgeous steaks, thick pork chops, and plump chicken breasts, all at prices that make you feel like you're getting away with something. In a country where we're constantly worried about what's really in our food, Costco has built a reputation as the one place you can trust. Membership card, peace of mind, right? Not quite. Some of those beautiful cuts sitting under the bright lights are quietly hiding problems you'd never spot with the naked eye. Harmful bacteria can be driven deep into the meat during processing, impossible to wash off at home. Then there are the nitrates, preservatives, and other additives slipped in to keep everything pink and pretty on the shelf. Over time, that stuff triggers silent, low-grade inflammation that takes a daily toll on your liver, kidneys, and blood vessels. Look, I'm not bashing Costco. I'm a member too, and I still shop there. But when it comes to meat, cheap and plentiful doesn't automatically mean safe and healthy. You deserve to know exactly what you're bringing home to your family. Look, I'm not going to lie. I'm still at Costco every single week, cart overflowing like everyone else. But after digging deep into food science and nutrition for years, I finally saw the truth. Some of the meat in those giant coolers is honestly excellent, and some of it is quietly shaving years off your life. So in this video, I'm breaking down the 5 types of meat you should absolutely steer clear of, no matter how good the price looks. Plus the only 2 cuts I personally feel great about tossing in my cart if I want to stay strong and healthy for the long haul. And stick around until the very end, because I'm dropping one dead simple trick that instantly turns you into the smartest meat shopper in any store. Costco, Walmart, wherever. The warehouse clubs sure aren't going to tell you this one, but every good nutritionist wishes you. Let's be real. Walking out of Costco with a cart stacked high with ribeyes, bacon, and chicken thighs feels like winning at life. The prices are insane. The place is fun. The samples are flowing. Who doesn't love that? I'm right there with you, grinning like an idiot every time I load up on meat that looks straight out of a magazine perfect. But here's the question I had to ask myself, and now I'm asking you. Does all that gorgeous, fresh meat actually love us back? Because this isn't about whether it's cheap or expensive, or even if it tastes amazing. Spoiler, most of it does. This is about what happens inside your body years down the road. Every bite is either fighting inflammation and keeping your metabolism humming, or quietly speeding up aging, insulin resistance, and the kind of slow-motion health crash that hits hardest after 60, when your body can't bounce back like it did at 30. Once I realized that, I couldn't unsee it, and I bet you won't be able to either. Once you hit your 40s, 50s, and beyond, quality protein stops being optional. It's the one thing that keeps your muscles from wasting away, protects your brain from fog and memory slips, keeps blood sugar from swinging wild, and basically puts the brakes on the natural breakdown that comes with age. Meat should be your ally in all of that. The problem? Pick the wrong kind and it flips the script. Instead of building you up, it quietly tears you down from the inside. Costco's awesome, don't get me wrong. I'm still a card-carrying member who loves the deals. But when you're moving millions of pounds of meat every week to keep those prices rock bottom, things get industrialized fast. The care a small butcher or a high-end chef gives every single cut, that's just not realistic at warehouse scale. Some of the meat is legitimately great, but a lot of it has been through processes, injections, and shortcuts you'd never sign off on if you knew the full story. And that's exactly what I'm here to show you. Here's the thing a lot of us miss. Costco straight up uses certain meats as loss leaders to get bodies in the door. That $4.99 rotisserie chicken everybody raves about? It's priced to make you feel like a genius, not because they're doing charity. When something looks that cheap and smells that good, we automatically assume good enough, lower our guard, and roll it straight into the cart. Over time, that habit trains us to accept a lower bar for what we put in our bodies. And it's not just the birds. A ton of those fresh steaks and roasts you see stacked high have been run through mechanical blade tenderizers. Basically a machine with hundreds of tiny knives that punch holes to make cheaper cuts feel buttery. Sounds great until you realize that process can drive surface bacteria like E. coli or salmonella deep into the middle of the meat, where your skillet can't reach. Then you've got ground beef and chicken that often come from massive factory-style operations where growth hormones, routine antibiotics, and sketchy feed are still very much part of the playbook. Most of us have been grilling and eating this stuff for years without a second thought. Once you see it, though, game changer. I'm not here to trash every package in Costco's meat case. Far from it. Some of what they sell is honestly solid, and in a minute I'll point you straight to the two options I still grab myself. But if you're over 60 or want to feel like you're 40 when you hit 70, the first step to winning isn't chasing the best stuff, it's ruthlessly dodging the worst. So let's cut the fluff and get real. Here are the 5 types of meat I want you to walk past every single time you're in that warehouse. No exceptions. If staying sharp, keeping your heart strong, and living a long, medication-free life actually matters to you, pay attention. These 5 could be quietly sabotaging everything you're working for. Number 1, ground beef, especially the 93.7 type picture. This, you're rolling through Costco, you spot those giant red and white tubes of 93.7 ground beef, and your brain lights up. Lean as hell, tons of protein, exactly what I need now that I'm watching my health. You toss 2 or 3 in the cart without breaking stride. Been there, done that, probably last weekend. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never consider. That 93% lean label that feels like a win when you're 35 can quietly backfire once you're past 60. Your body doesn't handle super lean meat the same way anymore. Without enough natural fat, digestion gets harder, nutrient absorption drops, and a lot of that high-quality protein just passes through instead of rebuilding muscle and brain tissue like it's supposed to. What looks smart on the package can actually leave you weaker and more inflamed over time. Crazy, right? Keep watching. This one's a bigger deal than you think. When the fat drops that low, your body literally can't soak up the fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, that keep your heart ticking, your eyes sharp, and your bones from crumbling. No fat in the meat? Those vitamins just slide right through you. Add in an aging gut that's already not firing on all cylinders, and you're left wrestling with bloating, sluggish digestion, and that heavy food coma feeling every time you eat. Then there's the cooking nightmare. Super lean ground beef loves to scorch. Hit it with high heat and you crank out a bunch of nasty compounds, HCAs, PAHs, advanced glycation end products, that act like tiny wrecking balls on your blood vessels and DNA. When you were 30, your liver and kidneys laugh that stuff off. Past 60? They're working overtime already, and those toxins hang around a lot longer, quietly speeding up everything you're trying to slow down. And trust me, this is just the warm-up act. Here's the part that still keeps me up at night. Costco has had to pull ground beef off the shelves multiple times because of E. coli outbreaks. We're not talking a little stomach bug, especially for anyone over 65, that bacteria can spiral into kidney failure or worse in a heartbeat. Ground beef is basically a mashup of scraps from hundreds, sometimes thousands of cows. One single infected animal in the mix, and the entire tube you're holding can turn deadly. And yeah, the package still looks perfectly red and fresh. You'd never know until it's too late. I've lost count of the Reddit threads where people admit they have to melt bacon fat into those 93.7 patties just to keep them from tasting like cardboard, or complain that the meat has a weird freezer burn funk even when it's fresh. Most folks laugh it off, but for seniors, that's a 5-alarm warning. At this stage of life, every single meal is medicine, either healing you or hurting you. You wouldn't grab random pills out of an unmarked bottle and call it a day, so why roll the dice on something you're putting straight into your bloodstream 3 times a day? This stuff matters more than most of us ever admit. I get it. Those big, bright packs of 93.7 scream smart choice, especially when they're priced like you're stealing them. We've all been brainwashed for 40 years that lean, healthy, so of course it feels wrong to walk past it. Thing is, nobody ever finished the sentence. Lean is only healthy when your digestion is bulletproof and your hormones are still acting like a 25-year-old's. Strip out too much natural fat, and you're also stripping out flavor, moisture, and, most importantly, your body's ability to actually use the protein and vitamins you paid for. You end up full, but not fixed. Costco isn't the villain here. They're just giving the people what the people keep buying. But once you're past 60, chasing the leanest label isn't discipline. It's self-sabotage. You don't need meat that makes your body work harder. You need meat that works with you. Steady energy, fast recovery, and real metabolic support. That's not the tube that says 93.7. We'll get to exactly what you should grab instead in just a minute. If you're still going to bring that 93.7 home, hey, no judgment. At least play defense. Cook the living daylights out of it. Never leave it pink in the middle, and always mix in some real fat, butter, olive oil, tallow, whatever, so your body can actually use the nutrients and you don't end up with a dry hockey puck that spikes inflammation. But here's the kicker. Skipping the lean stuff isn't automatically a win. The next meat on my do not touch list might actually be worse for you than super lean ground beef. And most people grab it without ever flipping the package over. Stick with me. Reading labels wrong on this one can wreck you faster than any low-fat patty ever could. Number 2, blade tenderized steaks. I'll never forget this guy from Montana, 67 years young, built like a lumberjack, cooked better than most chefs I know, and took pride in eating clean. One Saturday, he swings by Costco, spots a beautiful ribeye, takes it home, and grills it a perfect medium rare like he's done 1,000 times before. Felt like $1,000,000 while he was eating it. 6 hours later, he's curled up on the bathroom floor, violent diarrhea, gut cramps that double him over, and dehydration hitting so fast his wife rushes him to the ER. Doctors are throwing around sepsis, kidney failure, the works. Turns out the steak had been blade tenderized at the plant. Those tiny needles punched surface bacteria straight into the center, where the grill never got hot enough to kill it. One gorgeous-looking steak almost took him out permanently, and the package never even mentioned it. That's the second meat you need to treat like a loaded gun. Here's the dirty little secret hiding behind some of the juiciest, most tender steaks you see at Costco. A bunch of them have been blade tenderized or needled back at the plant. Picture a roller covered in hundreds of razor-thin knives, stabbing the meat over and over to break up tough fibers, so even cheap cuts feel like butter in your mouth. Sounds awesome, right? Wrong. Those same needles take whatever bacteria is chilling on the surface, E. coli, Salmonella, Listeria, and drive it straight into the center of the steak, exactly where your sear never reaches. Cook it medium rare or even medium like most of us love, and you're basically eating a bacteria delivery system with A1 sauce on top. The package almost never says a word about it, so you've got zero clue you need to treat that steak like ground beef and cook it all the way to well done just to stay alive. Crazy that something done to make meat better actually makes it riskier. But that's the game. I'm not dropping these stories to freak you out. I'm doing it because the stakes are legit different once you're past 60. Your immune system isn't the Navy SEAL team it was at 30. A dose of bad bacteria that would have given 35-year-old you a rough weekend can now slam you with dehydration, screw up your electrolytes, tank your blood pressure, or put you in the hospital overnight. Throw in blood pressure pills, diabetes meds, or anything that suppresses immunity, and you're basically fighting with one hand tied behind your back. And some strains of E. coli don't just come for a visit and leave. They go straight for the kidneys. We're talking hemolytic uremic syndrome, permanent damage, dialysis, the whole nightmare. I've watched strong, active people end up hooked to machines for months because of one perfect steak that was blade tenderized and cooked medium rare. One meal. I'm telling you this because I never want that to be you or someone you love. Simple awareness saves lives here. Here's what really burns me up. Costco actually does put a warning on blade tenderized steaks, but it's an 8-point gray type on the back corner of the label, the kind of thing you only spot with a magnifying glass and perfect lighting. Nobody at the meat counter pulls you aside and says, hey, this one has to hit 165 degrees Celsius all the way through and rest 3 minutes, or you're playing Russian roulette. They just slap it in the case like any other ribeye. So you walk by, see a gorgeous marbled steak at a killer price, toss it in the cart, and fire up the grill for the usual perfect medium rare. Looks like a treat, smells like a treat, feels like you're treating yourself right. Except if you don't know the secret, that treat can land you in the hospital. Or worse, one tiny, almost invisible label is all that stands between celebration and disaster, and most of us never even see it. That's not shopping, that's an ambush. You spot that thick marbled ribeye or New York strip, and your brain goes straight to steakhouse vibes. Fire up the grill, sear the outside, keep the middle rosy, live your best life. That's exactly what the package wants you to think. But if that cut has been blade tenderized and you treat it like a normal steak, you're not cooking dinner. You're spinning a cylinder in Russian roulette and pulling the trigger with every bite. Past 60, one bad spin can cost you weeks in the hospital or a lifetime on dialysis. Your body doesn't get do-overs anymore. Costco's not breaking any rules. They slap the required warning on there and call it a day. The process itself was created for one reason: to turn tougher, cheaper cuts into something that feels premium without charging premium prices. Faster cooking, softer chew, happier customers. Win-win, until nobody tells the customer the new rules. Convenience without the knowledge isn't convenience. It's a trap disguised as a deal. And right now, millions of us are walking straight into it every weekend. If you're breathing a sigh of relief right now thinking, okay, I'll just skip the steaks and I'm good, pump the brakes. The third meat on my no-fly list is something I guarantee 9 out of 10 people over 60 put in their grocery cart or on their breakfast plate every single week. Heck, you might have eaten it this morning and gave yourself a little pat on the back for choosing lean protein. In about 30 seconds, I'm going to pull the curtain back on exactly what it is and why it's quietly doing more damage than almost anything else in the cooler. After you hear this, you'll never walk past that section the same way again. I know I don't. Number 3, Kirkland's signature bacon. Come on, let's be honest. That sizzle, that smell drifting through the house on a Saturday morning, the way one crispy strip can make eggs or a BLT feel like a celebration, it's pure comfort food. For a lot of folks over 60, a couple slices of bacon is the little luxury that still puts a smile on your face, no guilt attached. That's exactly why it's so dangerous. We love it too much to question it. It's been on the breakfast table our whole lives, so we just assume the stuff in the Costco pack is basically the same as what Grandma fried up in the cast iron skillet. Spoiler, it's not even close. And once you see what they're doing to bacon these days, you might lose your taste for it overnight. I'll never forget sitting with a 73-year-old patient who was doing everything right. No smoking, no drinking, walked 3 miles every morning, blood pressure mostly under control. Then we started talking about breakfast and she laughed, almost embarrassed, and said, "Well, I do let myself have one single slice of bacon with my eggs every day. It's my little treat." I'll never forget sitting with a 73-year-old patient who was doing everything right. No smoking, no drinking, walked 3 miles every morning, blood pressure mostly under control. Then we started talking about breakfast and she laughed, almost embarrassed, and said, "Well, I do let myself have one single slice of bacon with my eggs every day. It's my little treat. One slice, 7 days a week. That's 365 doses a year of the stuff most bacon is pumped full of: sky-high sodium, saturated fat, and a cocktail of nitrates and nitrites that turn into nitrosamines in your body." The World Health Organization didn't mince words. Processed meats like bacon are Group 1 carcinogens, right up there with cigarettes and asbestos. That harmless daily slice was quietly raising her blood pressure, inflaming her arteries, and, along with a few other habits, helping feed the colon polyp her doctor had just removed. She looked at me like I'd punched her in the gut when I explained it. One tiny ritual she thought was bringing joy was actually stacking the deck against the long, healthy life she was fighting for. That big stack of Kirkland bacon looks innocent enough: neat rows, bright pink, crazy low price, the Costco house brand you already trust for everything else. You toss it in the cart telling yourself it's basically the same bacon you grew up with, just cheaper. I see the comments all the time. "Kirkland bacon's too thin, it shrinks to nothing, half of it's fat anyway." Most people are mad because it falls apart in the pan or disappears when it cooks. I couldn't care less about that. My problem is what those razor-thin, fat-heavy strips are doing once they're inside you. More fat plus super thin cut, it scorches in seconds. Every time it goes past golden and into blacken, you're cranking out acrylamide, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and other nasty compounds that don't flush out in a day. They stick around, chip away at your arteries, and raise cancer risk a little more with every over-crispy batch. One strip this morning, another tomorrow. A lifetime of just a little adds up to a whole lot of damage. You're thinking, come on, it's occasional. I'm not eating the whole pack. I hear you. But health at 70 isn't decided by one breakfast. It's decided by the thousands of breakfasts exactly like it. That single slice you fried up today, it's not a treat standing alone. It's another quiet vote for how the rest of your story ends. If you're sitting there thinking, fine, I'll just ditch the bacon and grab the organic stuff instead, that's gotta be safe. Hold that thought. The fourth meat I'm warning you about is the one most people feel smug about buying. The package literally says organic in big green letters, and it still lands tons of folks over 60 in trouble every single year. In about 10 seconds, you're going to see why even the healthiest label in the case can be a wolf in sheep's clothing. Number 4, Kirkland Signature Organic Chicken Thighs. You spot those big trays of Kirkland Organic Chicken Thighs, the word organic practically glowing on the label, and you feel like you finally cracked the code. No hormones, no antibiotics, better for the planet, better for you. You toss 2 packs in the cart and give yourself a mental high five for adulting, right? I've been that guy. Most of us have. Here's the gut punch nobody talks about. Organic only tells you how the chicken was raised, not how long it sat around afterward. A lot of that organic chicken is flown in from halfway across the country, or farther, aged for days or weeks longer than conventional. And by the time it hits the Costco case, it can be right on the edge of spoiling, even when it still looks and smells okay. You think you're choosing the gold standard, but you might actually be bringing home meat that's older and more oxidized than the regular stuff you swore you'd never buy again. Feels like a win, until it isn't. Organic on the package just means the bird never got antibiotics, hormones, or GMO feed while it was alive. That's it. It says exactly zero about how many days or weeks ago it was slaughtered, how many trucks and warehouses it bounced through on ice, or whether the cold chain stayed perfect the whole trip. You can have a totally organic chicken that's technically older and more traveled than the regular rotisserie bird you're trying to avoid. What your body actually wants after 60 is meat that's genuinely fresh, still loaded with natural enzymes, easy on digestion, and hasn't had time to build up oxidation or sneaky bacteria. Instead, a lot of that organic chicken has been sitting in limbo so long that by the time you cook it, the fats are already going rancid at a microscopic level, and the protein's tougher on your gut than you realize. You paid extra to feel good, but your body's getting the short end of the stick. Crazy how the label that's supposed to mean best can sometimes mean buyer beware instead. Head over to any Costco fan forum or Reddit thread, and you'll see the same complaints pop up over and over about that organic chicken. Opened the pack, and it smelled like a wet dog. Cooked it, and the texture was weird, kind of slimy yet rubbery, like chewing a deflated balloon. Looked gorgeous raw, but once it hit the pan, it turned gray and tasted flat. People think they're imagining it or just got a bad batch, but they're not. Here's what's really going on. A huge chunk of that organic chicken is bulk imported, flash frozen for weeks or months, shipped across the country, thawed, re-chilled, and finally trucked to your local warehouse. By the time it lands in your fridge, it can easily be 30-60 days past slaughter, even if the sell-by date still says you're good. All the organic goodness in the world doesn't stop time. It just puts a pretty green label on meat that's already lost most of its flavor, nutrients, and that fresh-from-the-farm magic. You paid a premium for the story on the package, not the reality inside it. At our age, every single meal has to pull its weight. Slide down easy, break down fast, feed your muscles and brain without making your system fight for it. But when your stomach acid's already getting lazy and enzyme production isn't what it used to be, even a little off chicken turns into a 4-hour wrestling match inside your gut. You finish eating, and instead of feeling energized, you're bloated, sluggish, ready for a nap you didn't plan on. That faint fishy smell or weird texture isn't just annoying. It's a red flag that spoilage bacteria like Pseudomonas or Clostridium are already throwing a party. Your body has to divert energy to kill them off, which sparks low-grade inflammation, throws your gut microbiome out of whack, starves you of the nutrients you thought you just ate, and nudges your insulin resistance a little higher. One sketchy tray of organic thighs doesn't ruin your life, but do that a couple times a month for a few years, and you've got a tired, inflamed metabolism that's aging faster than your birth certificate says it should. That's not dinner. That's a slow motion sabotage. If you're still set on buying organic chicken, treat every pack like a crime scene investigation. Peel back the film and check. The meat should be a clean, light pink, not dull, gray, or greenish at the edges. Give the tray a gentle squeeze. If it puffs like a balloon, bacteria are already pumping out gas inside. Then take a quick sniff the second you open it. Any whiff of fish, ammonia, or sour blood means it's done. Walk away. Yeah, it stings to toss 20 bucks in the trash, but that's nothing compared to the weeks of gut hell or the medical bills that come from trying to save questionable meat. Kirkland Organic is the poster child for this trap. Gorgeous packaging, great price, and way too often a ticking time bomb underneath. But believe it or not, there's still one meat left on my list that's even sketchier. One that looks perfectly legit, gets stamped with official seals, and still carries a straight-up cancer risk because of how the industry processes it. When I show you number 5, you're going to be mad you ever trusted it. Stick around. Number 5, top round steak. You've finally dodged the ground beef, the blade tenderized steaks, the bacon, and the sketchy organic chicken. You're feeling like a pro now, so you head to the case and spot a beautiful pack of top round. Fire engine red, practically zero visible fat, looks like it was cut 5 minutes ago. Lean protein jackpot, you think. This one's got to be safe. Wrong move. That ultra-lean top round is the 5th and sneakiest offender on my list. Because it's so stripped of natural fat, your body has to work overtime to digest it. Liver screaming, stomach grinding, gallbladder taking a coffee break. Without fat to slow things down, the protein hits your bloodstream too fast, spiking amino acids and insulin in ways your 60-plus metabolism hates. Add in the higher levels of oxidized cholesterol and creatine that form in super lean red meat, and you've got a healthy choice that quietly stokes inflammation, tires out your gut, and leaves your arteries a little worse for wear every single time you eat it. Looks clean, acts dirty. Top round comes from the cow's hind leg, the muscle that basically never got a day off. It's tough, super lean, and has almost zero marbling, exactly what the 1990s food pyramid told us to hunt down. Looks disciplined, responsible, heart healthy. In reality, it's a nutritionist's nightmare once you're north of 60. Zero fat means it turns into shoe leather the second it hits the pan or grill, and most of us crank the heat trying to make it edible. High heat plus lean protein, Justin, a chemistry set pumping out heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, 2 carcinogens that literally nick your DNA every time you char the outside. When you were 35, your body had the repair crews to fix most of that damage before bedtime. Past 60, those repair crews are on skeleton staff and permanent overtime. Every overcooked, ultra-lean steak is another unpaid bill your cells have to pay later, and the interest is brutal. And it gets worse. Ever scarfed down a healthy, lean steak and then felt like you swallowed a bowling ball? Bloated, foggy, ready for a 3-hour nap? That's not bad seasoning. That's your 60-plus digestive system waving a white flag. Stomach acid's already down 30–50% from your younger days. Enzyme production slacking, and now you're asking it to break down a rock-hard, zero-fat piece of protein. Good luck. Half of it just sits there fermenting while you fight to stay awake. Then there's the nightmare combo nobody sees coming. A lot of those top round packs are blade tenderized too. Tiny print, same trap. Cook it rare or medium because lean meat needs less time, and you've just mainlined any bacteria that got stabbed into the center. At 30, you might puke once and call it Tuesday. At 65, that same mistake can mean IV antibiotics, a week in the hospital, or worse. One innocent-looking clean steak can turn a great day into a complete disaster, and most people never connect the dots until it's too late. Don't forget to subscribe to Smart Senior Living for practical wellness tips, simple routines, and smart everyday advice to help you stay healthy, safe, and confident, one step at a time. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Subscribe to Smart Senior Living and join our community, because living well gets easier when we do it together. Don't forget to subscribe to Smart Senior Living for practical wellness tips, simple routines, and smart everyday advice to help you stay healthy, safe, and confident, one step at a time. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. Subscribe to Smart Senior Living and join our community, because living well gets easier when we do it together.